Hello, everyone. How are you doing? And welcome to another episode of the Dr. Will Show. I am your host, Dr. Will, and we are back with another episode. This one will be starting a new series that I'll be doing where I just go 5 questions with my guest, uh, just to pick their brain and see what their stances are on the current sort of things going on in education. Today's guest is Rafranz Davis. How are you doing, Rafranz?
I'm great. How are you?
Excellent, excellent. Thank you again for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
You're
Excited to
welcome.
talk to you today.
Well, excellent, excellent. So, for those who are watching the show, will you please introduce yourself?
Oh, you want me to introduce myself?
Yeah.
I was like, wait, who's introducing themselves? That's what kind of day this has been. Of course, you just said my name correctly. A lot of people get that wrong. I am actually based out of Texas, in East Texas to be exact. I'm the executive director of professional and digital learning for a public school here in Texas.
Mhm.
And I'm a blogger, an author, and a mother, and probably a jack of a lot of things. But I think my greatest passion is really talking about opening up access to kids and teachers.
Excellent, excellent. So, we are now on the heels of the confirmation of Davos, as you know,
Maybe not.
and, and there's a lot of talk and stuff going on. With all of that sort of in the background, what do you like most about being an educator? I mean, it's a tough job, long hours, low pay, and everyone from politicians to parents to the media, they just want to put the blame of low student achievement on teachers.
See, I guess I don't see it in that same sense. I think what I love about education most is the holistic aspect of the struggle itself, whether it is working with students who have honestly had very limited opportunities or even access to people to truly understand them, to changing hearts and minds of teachers, impacting the school district, having a voice on a national level, although the next 4 years will be questionable. I love, I think, just the framework of the work that we do and what it means and what it means to the students that we have. And I think it's, to me, if you want to get in public service, being a teacher is where it's at. There's that saying that people don't come into teaching for the pay. And I mean, some places the pay is, horrible. And some places it's actually not horrible, to be quite honest with you, at least here in Texas. But I love the outcome, and the outcome happens to be when we get to see our kids, reach goals and attainables that they didn't see for themselves.
So education has changed so much over the past few years and a lifetime since I was in school. I mean, when I was in school, the VCR was the size of a small suitcase. uh, so with the internet and the growth of mobile devices and Chromebooks spreading everywhere, many schools have taken a leap into digital learning. What are your thoughts on how technology is disrupting the traditional educational model?
See, I don't know that technology is per se. I think that so let me just say, you absolutely have to have technology in schools. You have to. But I've also seen schools with one-to-ones, plenty of technology, and have had them for years. But what happens in their classroom is no different than what a student would traditionally do with pen and paper. So I think that the real disruption in education isn't the technology. It is, and it's not even the what's done with it. It's the strategies that are being employed in classrooms that are empowering kids to be thinkers. Inquiry being a much, inquiry, student-centered learning, project-based learning. Those to me are the real disruptors. Technology helps facilitate that, but it doesn't create the disruption.
Mm. Okay. But I think the technology, well, I guess the technology for me represents a disruption because there are things that you cannot do with pencil or paper than you can do with technology.
I think there's no doubt in information wise. I mean, I have a nephew who taught himself how to make puppets and how to do every piece of art he's ever done by looking at YouTube. We have classrooms that can connect with classrooms across the globe that they couldn't do otherwise. At the same time, every kid can have an iPad. And if they're not doing anything with those iPads, but doing textbook apps and writing on PDFs, and that's all they're doing, what difference is that than looking at a physical textbook and writing on a worksheet? So I think that what you have to do is push kids to do greater things with technology. And again, that gets into pedagogy and strategy. That's what makes the lesson and the learning come alive. The technology should be there anyway. It shouldn't even be like, we shouldn't even be questioning people that don't have it. Yet I'm in a school district and we're still not there yet where we have access where we need it to be. And that's a reality that a lot of schools face. But does that mean that our classrooms can't still be disruptive? Absolutely not. Our classrooms can still be disruptive, but they do need that extra oomph in access to the world. They absolutely need that. But to not have it and say, well, I can't do anything different is a curse on teaching.
So let's talk about professional development. What practices have you implemented to reflect upon your own teaching methods and your own philosophy? And how has social networking, if any, played a role in you evolving as an educator to meet the needs of today's digital learners?
Well, clearly I wouldn't even be on this call right now had it not been for social media. So even in my career, I would not be where I am now without Twitter. Prior to connecting, I was, teaching my geometry and algebra 2 classroom in, small town Texas. Once I started connecting and realizing that what I was doing in my classroom had significant value, connecting enabled me to share it significantly, but it also enabled me to continue to learn from other people. So in today's climate, I'm taking right now a couple of courses through edX. From universities that I wouldn't have otherwise. I think Microsoft is even offering a professional track of data science. You can actually go get a data science certification through edX. There's so many opportunities for professionally to learn that connecting and social media allows. The problem comes in when schools are not recognizing that. And I will say that for me, being able to bring that social learning aspect into my work as empowering our teachers to be social learners is probably one of the best takeaways that I could have possibly taken from the time that I was in the classroom into where I am now.
So let me throw this back at you. We are connected. We know the value of it. And you just mentioned what you are doing with your teachers. I have presented at conferences and the teachers seem really excited during the session. But weeks later, if I go back and kind of look at their feed, there's nothing. Why do you think the educators who are not connected have not yet taken the leap? And for those who, but for some reason, maybe a friend said, hey, Twitter is hot, go, check this out. They play with it for a little bit and then they just leave it alone.
Oh, there's so many layers to that question. So there's, you can't answer that with one answer because there's so many different scenarios. One of those being when teachers are in a school district that doesn't value social media to the point that it is blocked. It's blocked during the school day, so they're not given an opportunity to use it aside from their own devices. And then, of course, there's pushback on that at times. Then we've kind of adopted this ideology of learning as a teacher that you go to work, you come home, you immediately get on the computer, on your phone or device, and you start connecting. Well, that's not everybody's reality. Whether it being that they're in a school where it's not valued in the day, or people have passions and lives and things that they do outside of school they go home and they turn it off and they become whoever they are at home. And so for a while, I was kind of like thinking, you should all get home and connect and get online and share blah, blah, blah. But I think that's an unfair ask. I think that asking someone to commit to how long it takes for us to do this? It's hours of time. To ask someone to commit to that and then to say you're inadequate if you don't is not serving what teachers need. There are greater problems. There are problems in not giving them time in the school day to connect in that way, not having the time to balance everything else and also connect with people and learn. In addition to, again, blocking it entirely. I think in our school district, we just, when my superintendent came in, we just unblocked social media. 2-3 years ago, social media was the devil. You couldn't get on Facebook or Twitter or YouTube or anything. It was considered, this is against policy and absolutely not. And that's a reality for a lot of teachers. So it's easy to go sit in a conference and be excited. But the reality is when you get back home and you're faced with all of the barriers and blocks that are put in the way of growth, in addition to, we get on here and learn because we love it. But there are still a lot of teachers, and to their credit, I'm not mad at them, that will go and push themselves as long as their school will also honor that learning too. And there are a lot of schools that still don't honor social media as a form of learning. So I think that getting us connected is one thing, but adopting what this truly means from a leadership level to help inspire our teachers is an extra step that we definitely need to take, but deeper than those we are connected to on Twitter, on Facebook. How do we get to those that aren't? And that's something that many of these organizations really need to figure out.
So I want to talk about student ownership, because we hear a lot about the teacher's role in student achievement, but in a lot of circles, or some circles, you do not hear about the parent's role. You hear a lot of the teacher is the greatest factor in determining a student's success, but you don't hear about the parent's role. And we don't hear about students, like what do they have to bring to the table? So what do you believe to be the parent's role in student achievement? And does the student have any ownership in their own success?
The student is the learner, so they absolutely have ownership in their success. But let's be real, the reason why you hear about teachers making the difference and being the true kind of architect of that is because not every kid has that support at home that we feel they should. When I think about my own kids, I was playing math games with them from the time that they could walk, reading to them before they were even born, taking them on experiences, whether it be to museums or to art shows or to, church events, whatever the case may be, cultural events. I did that because my mother did that with me, and I knew that that's what I needed to do. But that's an unfair part of that is I had the time to do it too. I mean, I was teaching, and for a while I actually didn't because I was going to college and didn't have time. But there are a lot of parents who are working, and they're working 2 and 3 jobs trying to make ends meet, and they may not see their kid until the end of the day. And that's a reality. That's not everybody's reality, but that's a reality. When the kid comes to school, that gets to kind of be the clean slate. We're going to all be at this level, but we know the data. The kids that are in gifted programs and the kids that are, in top tier extracurricular programs are more than likely to be kids who have had that home support, and that home support in a major way to amplify that. And if not, the other kids that are in it because a teacher helped impact them to be in it. I've been on both sides of that. I've been that teacher who had to pick kids up from home take kids home, bring food to school, and do all those things, in addition to working with some pretty amazing parents who were not only going above and beyond for their own children, but also stepping up for those other parents who couldn't be there for one reason or another. So I think everybody has ownership and a stake in it. We are not good yet at giving kids ownership of what they do. Not yet. We need to get there, but we're not.
Okay, so before we go, I want to kind of preface this question, by stating what we all have heard in terms of statistics of 50% of all teachers within the first 5 years, new teachers leave the profession. And we know that across the country, there are teacher shortages almost everywhere. I mean, Utah comes to mind most recently because it was so terrible. They just started saying, hey, you want to teach, come on over. Before we go, what is your call to action for someone who is interested in becoming a K through 12 teacher? And what do you think would persuade or be a help to teachers to keep them in the profession?
I can only answer this from a personal sense. I'm still here because I had incredible mentors before I ever stepped foot into a building as a teacher. I was in a pre-service teaching program that was out of this world. My professor wrote a grant. It was a teacher quality grant, and she, through that, provided us with technology, leadership, mentorship with career teachers to help us to be better curriculum developers, to integrate technology. I mean, whatever the latest, greatest technology was back then, we were using it to build interactive activities, to put our lessons online and build websites in the worst possible way with HTML on a blank page, just because she knew that we needed that. So if you're a teacher, if you're considering coming into K-12, you need to really look at what programs you enroll yourself in. Ask what they offer, what are the next steps, how do they connect you with other teachers and other schools, what are their philosophy on technology, where is it integrated, where are those teachers that have graduated? There are a ton of programs. I know in Texas, we have a program called Teach North Texas is at a specific university, but I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but there are tons of universities that have programs that are, deeply embedded in that way, where the teachers are graduating with advanced, math or science degrees. In addition to that, a teaching certification, but they're also taught project-based learning, technology integration, like they are truly embedded in school, plus the university continues to mentor them. So if you can't find a university program that has a rich mentor program embedded into it, then look to local organizations to see where there can be some support for you, because you're going to need it. Gone are the days where you can just graduate with a piece of paper, walk into a classroom and go. Not if you want to truly be effective and if you want to last. There has to be some investment in the sustainability of the career, and I think that's where we have, or where many have lagged behind.
Excellent. Thank you again, Rafranz, for being a guest on the show.
Thank you.
You're welcome. As always, people, this show will be on YouTube. It'll be on my blog. It will be on SoundCloud, and I'm going to put this on LinkedIn. And you need to follow Rafranz. After a while, she won't know us little people, because she's starting to take off and do all of the consulting and speaking and keynoting. Look at that.
No. My heart and soul is within my school. I've actually scaled back entirely. I mean, I'm only doing a few things this year, and I'm not consulting, not at all. My heart and soul is where is working and impacting the kids where I am.
Wow, that's beautiful.
Thank you.
That's beautiful, because a lot of us, and we know them, and there's nothing wrong with it. All of us start out at the school system, and we do some speaking, and some people start going, oh, okay, I like what you're doing. And next thing you know, we start leaving the school, and we go do this thing, do the consulting, the writing, full time. So it's cool that you say that this is your thing, you're going to stay.
That's the plan anyway. I'm definitely not going to consult. So, but if I'm going to be working in a school, then I want to be working in a school, which means I have to be here. And so I'm fully okay with really limiting my time off and truly investing in what needs to happen here in Lufkin, Texas.
Awesome. Well, enjoy yourself, and everyone, check out the show. And that's it. Oh, always invest in you, EDU. Peace.
Thank you.